Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comedian and host of Bachelor Recap, a Guy's Review. Good morning. How are you? I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. This video is going to include season spoilers. If you don't want to be a part of season spoilers, I totally understand. I'll tell you what. I'm not big into the Bachelor world, like sleuthing for spoilers. I prefer to just wait till it comes out. You know what I mean? I like to see how it goes and this and that. There are so many layers to this season and so many clues being given by Matt James and different side stories that it's just hard to hold on to how it all goes down. As we know from the photo here, Rachael Kirkconnell has been under hot water for all of the racist tornado that exists around her social media past, her recent apology. I got a lot to cover this video, but again, we are going to be talking about some spoilers. They really are all rumors still at this point. So if you want to hear rumors that we can't sort of confirm or deny, stick around for that. But if you want to be completely held in the dark, then this isn't for you. Usually people who don't want spoilers don't watch these YouTube videos anyway, because the comment section, there's always somebody who slips one past the goalie, and you try your best, but that's the thing. Someone last night posted something where they said the spoiler and then they put spoiler alert. And it's like, you got to put that alert in before the spoiler. So I'm letting you guys know right now, in about 1 minute, I will be discussing those spoilers. So this is your chance. If you're doing laundry and you're not near your computer or your phone and you can't rip off your headphones in time, this is your chance to go make that happen. So here's what I'm going to be talking about today. Matt James sending some clues about what happens, how this all goes down. Emmanuel Acho talks about Karens and cancel culture, which is a very interesting clip. It was from a chat he had with Chelsea Handler. Then I'm going to share some spoilers about what goes down with the final rose ceremony and the aftermath towards all that. Then Rachel Lindsay calls Rachel Kirkconnell Vapid for her Instagram post. I'm going to discuss that. Then, at the very end, a paparazzi video, which is the first time Rachael Kirkconnell has been seen since her apology. So I'm going to share all of that info with you guys. It all sort of ties together, but this is like, I'm like the conductor of it all, just trying to figure out how, it all pieces together. I've got yarn and thumbtacks, and I'm going nuts. But we really aren't going to know what happens. This coming episode of The Bachelor will be the women's tell-all. Chris Harrison has already mentioned that Rachael Kirkconnell is not a part of it, so they won't be talking about anything that has to do with Rachael Kirkconnell. They will be talking about Anna, Victoria, Brittany, how she was outed as a sex worker, but it wasn't true, the defamation behind that. What I'm guaranteeing isn't going to happen is within the episode, no one's going to be blaming the Bachelor producers for orchestrating all of this. They're going to keep it to the infighting, which is, of course, what they want. But as we all know, they have the final edit. There's all these storylines they could have decided not to air. But in the end, this psychological experiment gone awry with their profiting of it is kind of the world we live in. So that's how it is, folks. All right, let's get right into it. So I'm going to start with the spoilers from Reality Steve. Okay, so this is what... So basically... I'll share you guys with the timeline here, but this is how it all goes down as far as they're concerned. Okay, you ready for this final spoilers? Rachael Kirkconnell doesn't get proposed to, but he gives her a promise ring. Matt James gives her a promise ring, and then they have, I'll share just some of the things here. They've got a promise ring, and then they broke up. I'm trying to look for the date here. They broke up. Reality Steve says the breakup was Matt's doing. They broke up last week. Rachael did not want it to happen, and he wonders if she will beg him to stay with her after the final rose. She was caught off guard, did not know it was coming. It was not a mutual breakup. How does he know all this? I have no idea. Sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong. He was, his Bachelorette predictions might have been true, but then they have changed. Things are ever evolving. Rachael is heartbroken. Reality Steve can guess why he did it, but does not have definitive answers. Reality Steve thinks he's trying to protect his image. Matt James, that is. Ashley Spivey thinks everything came to a head and will change the franchise forever, and that Matt barely knows her. Very interesting. So I don't see where it was. It might not have been said in this clip, but there was a safe house that Rachael Kirkconnell and Matt James were at, I think, over Valentine's Day. And then after that safe house visit, she went on her own way and he went on his own way. And of course, information kept on coming out about, her apology came out, and then most recently his came out. But people are wondering not his apology, his statement. So people are wondering, was Matt James' statement after he broke up with Rachael Kirkconnell, and was that his chance to just completely denounce the association with someone who's got a racist past? We're really not sure how that all went down. This is what's interesting, though. Yesterday, this photo might have been from a few days ago, but this was posted yesterday. It was Matt at Topgolf in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And this was a shirt that he was wearing. So let's click on the next image. This is the shirt. Destroy racism. Racist people are not my type of people. Now, look. This shirt stands on its own as a good shirt. Obviously, it doesn't have to apply to anyone specifically, but if he did come to the determination that Rachael Kirkconnell just hasn't learned from her past or hasn't taken the right action to move things forward, maybe this is a response to that. As we know, he's not really allowed to talk about it till the show airs and all the info comes out. So I want to share with you a quick clip from Emmanuel Acho. Now, he was a former linebacker in the NFL and now has a series called Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. It was turned into a book. Oprah published it. It came out just a few months ago. And I'm working my way through it. This isn't like I don't want woke points for this, guys. I'm trying to understand. I love the premise of the book. I love the idea that a lot of people are just scared to have conversations because they're scared to come off wrong. And so because of that, he's like, you know what? I'm going to try to talk to everyone and bring people together. So he has a web series that the book actually came from. It started as a web series. So here's a little clip on cancel culture. And you can look at this and see how it portrays to Chris Harrison or Rachael Kirkconnell. But let's just listen to this, and then we'll just keep the conversation going. And then I'll share with you how Rachel Lindsay has critiqued Rachael Kirkconnell's steps moving forward, and then the paparazzi video of Rachael Kirkconnell.
You mentioned white women, so let's talk about Karens. Karen, the code word for the white woman who chooses to weaponize her whiteness. What do you feel when you see the viral videos of Karens going into Trader Joe's or walking their dog without a leash and calling the police on a black man? What do you feel when you see white women weaponizing their whiteness?
Vitriol. I see it. And when I see white women living out that anger, like being a product of your culture is not always your fault, but not examining that further as you age and grow up is your fault. I have a lot of friends who I don't think are racist at all, but there's an inured culturalism within us that when you see three black men across the street, white women are taught to think danger.
Have you ever weaponized your whiteness or thought about it?
I'm sure I have, unconsciously, tons of times. I mean, I can't say tons of times because I can't think of a specific time, but I would never pretend that I'm not guilty of being exactly the type of person that I would be embarrassed to be,
When people are gonna watch this and say, well, she wrote a book called You Got to Be Kidding Me, and she's done so many racist things, and I'm just not going to forgive Chelsea Handler. She's a racist, always a racist in my book. She's just putting on a show now so people can like her. What would you say to those people?
Well, I mean, I've never had to put on a show to make any, I'm not trying to win a popularity contest. I think I've made that pretty clear, that I stand up for what I believe in, that I tell the truth, and that I'm not pandering. I'm not pandering, I'm not a faker. I can't even pretend to be in a good mood when I'm not in a good mood, You can see people change and evolve. And that's the thing with this culture that we're in, this cancel culture that we're talking about. It's like people are capable of changing. People are capable of changing. Everyone deserves to be forgiven as long as they are truly, sorry for what they did.
So this is kind of what we're talking about with Chris Harrison, with Rachael Kirkconnell, is the ability to forgive and move forward. Now, of course, I mention this every video. That doesn't mean anyone who felt the emotions of feeling offended or feeling hurt by their actions, that doesn't mean that they have to just immediately forgive them. It's not necessarily my place to tell anyone else what to do. But the point is that it's up to people to decide, is this person changing for the better? And if they are, do I give them another chance? Now, you don't have to give Rachael Kirkconnell another chance. She's going to go on and have her Instagram, and she's going to do whatever she does with her life, and you can do whatever you want to do with your life. And the same thing with Chris Harrison. He's going to be perfectly fine, as people put it, but the chance that we have a positive discussion, it's a very important thing. And I think we'll really miss out if we just get rid of the voices that can talk about how they have grown from their discussion. People like Chelsea Handler. Comics, I'm not here to pat myself on the back. Comics are good at just saying their flaws. They're good at just saying, you know what, I was a piece of crap and I did this, but this is what I learned, X, Y, and Z. Actors are the exact opposite. Actors, hosts, spokespeople, they have to have this air of perfection, this perfectly glossed, Ryan Seacrest look, because that's kind of like what they're selling. They're just the spokesperson for this prepackaged thing, whereas a comic is saying, hey, look at this, I got a broken finger, I'm stupid, look at this mole, like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to pronounce. All the flaws that you can think of are what make comics relatable. It's important for us to bring out the inner truth teller that says, I am flawed. I am, I'm learning, but I'm not perfect. And that's where the growth mindset comes from. I want to play for you guys a clip that happened on my live stream the other night. The live streams sometimes get 5 to 10,000 people watch it over the course of a couple days. They have 500 people watch it live. This was Monday night, 10 p.m. I got about 10 to 15 calls from a lady named Karen in Texas. She comes from Huntsville, Texas, which apparently is home to a prison, which doesn't mean much other than it's probably a very industrial, it's a very white town, so I've been told. And she called in, and I wanted to play this for you guys just to show for you that there are a lot of people that still are very close-minded and think that we don't have a problem. We all bleed red. We're all equal. All lives matter. That kind of crowd. That's not the place that exists that builds growth. That's a place that says, hey, we're all fine. It's a very complacent place to be. So I actually cut her voicemail off because it ended up kind of going in a direction. And I'm a guy who, I do this out of my kitchen. I don't have call screeners. I try my best to screen them. But I had to get out of this call because it started to go to a place that was very toxic. But I've been debating whether to re-air this full clip because it's so interesting to hear how people actually think. I'll play you like 1 minute of it, guys. But I do warn you, like this is part of where we are as a country. It looks like we have several more calls from Karen in Huntsville, so let's get to that. You thought I was kidding.
Yeah, this is Karen from Huntsville again. Keep the racism down. It's bullshit. That's all we've heard for the last year or so, and, we all bleed red. We are all, God's children. Stop
yes.
the crap. It's getting old. It really is. We're sorry that we treated you guys so bad, but you don't see the American Indians crying out,
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is, I gotta just get
anything
out of this
like
one.
that.
Oh boy. All right. Okay. I don't even know if I should play the full clip, or you can go back to the live stream. It's still there. And by the way, laughter is a complicated thing. Laughter cuts a lot of tension. Sometimes you're laughing when you agree with something like, oh, that is funny. Men do that, or women do drive that way, whatever the stupid stereotype may be. Aha, we laugh. But we also laugh, as you see with Matt James, we laugh when we cut tension. We go, oh my gosh. And I literally in that moment was like, I can't believe she's saying this. Like, you forget that this exists in our world. Cut the crap, where she goes, cut the crap. Everyone's fine. We're all equal. We need to get over it. Like, it's like, it was really bad. I mean, she could have been on something. And obviously, I'm not giving her a platform because it's just her first name. It's not like I'm here to shame her as an individual, but really just to show that this exists out there. This exists. So the only way you can come forward to have progress and move forward is to acknowledge it. But if you're in this place where you're like, come on, this isn't a problem. You don't if you're dating if you're in a relationship and the boyfriend's like, honey, it's not a problem. My drinking's not a problem. It's like you're in denial and you can't improve from a place of denial. So anyway, in this article doesn't even say anything, but it says there are talks happening about Chris Harrison's future with the Bachelor franchise. I've sifted through all these articles. They say nothing. You guys will know when I know what the heck's going to happen, but there's obviously several things happening between Chris Harrison moving forward, Rachael Kirkconnell, and what the hell happened with Rachael Kirkconnell and Matt James. Were they trying to make it work? Was it fine until all these divisive issues came about? This is what we just don't know. So Rachael Kirkconnell, back in hot water. Rachel Lindsay calls her Instagram post with uncomfortable conversations with a black man book Vapid. Here's the post. So this is what Rachel posted this just probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago, that's a photo from matcha tea, but in the background, people noticed what this book was. I didn't know what it was. I can't read that, but they noticed what it was. I bought it immediately because I wanted to give Emmanuel Acho a listen. I wanted to see what he had to talk about. The book itself is great. The YouTube series itself is great. It's not perfect. There's been people that have criticized where he's coming from with it all, but like he's really got altruistic intentions to bring people together and have conversations. And I've been kind of saying the same thing, that dialogue is more important than getting it right. Like Chris Harrison, the best thing I think he could have done when this situation broke, best thing he could have done was to get people together that want to talk. I'm not saying we need to put the burden on anybody, but get people together within Bachelor Nation that want to talk, get some experts, people like Emmanuel Acho, if he wants to talk, and ask the hard questions. Ask why Chris Harrison thought it was okay to do the plantation balls because 50 million people still did it and the lens was different in 2018 versus 2021. What did you mean? Tell us what you meant. Elaborate. Instead, we're like a forensic team trying to go through it all, being like, did he interrupt her or was the Wi-Fi bad? Did he mean that things were different because the Black Lives Matter movement happened in the last year, or was his head just in the sand? What did he mean? What do people mean is more important than living and dying by what they said one time? It doesn't mean Rachel Lindsay doesn't have the reason to be offended. None of that takes away from what he said, but words are powerful. And as Emmanuel Acho said, words have the ability to do good, but they also have the ability to kill. And in today's time, I think what Bachelor producers were doing and what Chris Harrison was doing was trying to tease what's to come. But in the teasing of what's to come, they made it so bad that it wasn't done right. It wasn't done with compassion and grace, and it wasn't thinking about the victims and the people that have had to be subjected to having all this kind of thrown in their face on national TV. So they were off, and I can't speak for what their intentions were, but dialogue, communication, transparency is the key to moving forward, not hiding behind a statement. You know what I mean? So that's why I think while his apology was fine, and while Rachael Kirkconnell's apology was fine, it's the actions moving forward that matter. Now, I'm not here to bash Rachel Lindsay. We're just reading what she said, and I think Rachel Lindsay does a really good job of speaking her opinions, and I whenever anyone's like critical of Rachel Lindsay, people in the comment section nonstop are, I go, A, you didn't watch what I was talking about, because if you did, you might have a little bit more compassion, because it's a little more nuanced than being like, oh, Rachel Lindsay's just ruffling feathers. It's like, no, it's more nuanced than that. It's a black woman who wants to see change because she believes it's possible, and she believes if no one else is going to talk about this, she'll use her platform to talk about it. So the whole idea of like, oh, she profited off of them, now she wants Chris Harrison's job. Don't be so simple-minded to think that's what it is. You know what I mean? So she said, amid the recent racial controversy surrounding Bachelor Nation, Rachel Lindsay called out frontrunner Rachael Kirkconnell for a recent anti-racism post on Instagram. Kirkconnell posted a since removed Instagram story. By the way, since removed, they go away after a day. Like this, OK Magazine. Since removed Instagram story that showed a copy of uncomfortable conversations with a black man with their mid-afternoon matcha and manicure, and Lindsay was clearly not impressed. You almost feel like you know everything you need to know about her in that picture. The fact that that's what she decided to do, the 35-year-old said on her Bachelor Happy Hour podcast on Tuesday. Several people sent me that story. Her apology was well written. It was pretty and it was sincere. I'm not going to knock anyone's apology, but then the next step is to take action. Taking action to me isn't showing everybody that you're reading the book. You have such a big platform. There's a lot of people who don't necessarily understand what Chris Harrison said in the interview or why people are so upset. So this is an opportunity for you to explain that. I don't think it could get, the former Bachelorette said, vapid is the word that comes to mind. I don't think it could get any worse unless Matt James chooses Rachel, Lindsay added. Now here's the deal. Rachel Lindsay absolutely knows that Matt James chooses Rachel. And this is we just can't have this discussion without kind of knowing how it goes down. But I understand that Rachel Lindsay can't spoil that. So by saying if he chooses her, it's only going to get worse. It's a lot of pressure put on Matt James to get it right. And in the end, Matt James is going to have to do what he thinks is right. But if he did fall in love with Rachael Kirkconnell, this is like real life here. Is he in love with her? Is he worried about how a lot of people are going to come together and call him, an apologist or whatever because he's with this white woman with a racist past, And or did Matt James just not see in her eyes her ability to grow? They might have had tough conversations and it just didn't go the way he wanted to. So anyway, that was the book. And of course, me, I'm an idiot, so I had to look up Vapid. Offering nothing that is stimulating or challenging. So Rachel Lindsay challenges Rachael Kirkconnell to do more than just post this photo. The problem with this show, guys, that I have is that between NDAs, between them not wanting them to speak out yet, I just can't. And again, you have the right to make your own decisions. I just can't I can't decide how I think about someone with this limited conversation happening. I want to hear her on podcast talking. I want to see change, obviously. But if every week we get a little bit of growth, are we okay with that? What do we expect her to do in this moment as we wait for after the final rose? I mean, going through a breakup, trying to better herself and learn. I'm not making an apology for her, but I'm also not rushing to call what she's doing vapid. Obviously, if you just look at it, you go, oh, it's a nice green matcha. But then when you look and you go, oh, so this was perfectly placed here. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's one of the stack of books she was reading. But I think if we leaned on the kind of, knowing how it works with social media and it being highly curated, there's probably a good chance she wanted people to see that she's reading a book, even if she can't talk about her experience yet. We'll see what that means. Let's end on this video here of them catching Rachael Kirkconnell in Georgia. This was the first photos and videos since her scandal, since her apology. I haven't watched this. I don't know if this is even worth watching. Guess it's just a video. This is really not worth any of our time. So it's just a video of her driving away. Is that it? That's the whole thing? All right. So that's the intrusive world we live in right there. That's Rachael Kirkconnell leaving a hair salon. And of course,
I am a travel photographer.
I don't know where this,
videographer.
Hold on.
I
Sorry,
edit
guys.
an Adobe Premiere Pro.
Shut that off. So I don't even, by the way, I mean, all kidding aside, have you ever seen a more beautiful paparazzi photo? What the hell's going on here? You can't tell if she's like happy or sad, but anyway. This was taken this week, and it was the first time that she was seen. And look, she probably has no idea how to handle all of this, but she's gonna have to. I mean, I would love, if nothing more, for someone like her to have the conversation with Emmanuel and just like explore where you're coming from, where you go, because she's not the only person in the world that's got racist photos or photos in front of a Confederate flag or any of these issues. She's not the only person. So if we can have a productive conversation, not even for her sake, for the rest of the country, where someone like her talks about her experience really truthfully, really extended, none of these 30-second clips that ABC puts together, like really air it out, and then let's see what happens. Lot to talk about, lot moving forward. Thank you guys for sticking around. This felt like a puzzle I was trying to put together on the fly. It's hard to have these conversations where we're trying to like not spoil things, but if you made it to this point, things aren't looking good for Rachel and Matt's relationship. Even though they broke up, they might pull a Claire and Dale, and maybe she'll do the work on herself. I mean, that's the least we can all hope for, is that we improve who we were yesterday and to be a better who we want to be today and tomorrow. Anyway, folks, leave a comment, hit the like button. I will be going live at 4 p.m. today, Thursday. I go live at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Monday nights after the West Coast airing of the show, and then 4 p.m. on Thursdays. In the description, you can see the voicemail if you want to call in. Please keep the calls respectful, but then again, let me know what you guys think. I appreciate everyone's opinions, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.